Timpf. Welcome to a special edition of Gutfeld. Let's kick things off with some jokes. Jamie Lee Curtis is in talks to star in a movie version of the classic TV series Murder, She Wrote. However, the title is now Yogurt She Pooped. So dumb. President Biden at long last commented on drone sightings terrifying residents on the East Coast by saying, "Look at those flying Christmas trees."
Wow.
The latest skincare trend is slathering your face with beef tallow. Fans say the rendered cow fat cures acne, fights wrinkles, and leads to an 80% greater chance of getting chased by a pack of wild dogs. Researchers say more than 2/3 of U.S. teens don't drink, smoke, or use marijuana, leading to fears that Leonardo DiCaprio's dates are lame.
Oh, wow.
On this day in 1787, New Jersey became the third state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. And this is interesting. Of the handful of delegates responsible, 4 were dudes named Vinny. All right, let's do a monologue. Is the government full of lies while we look to the skies? So last night, President Biden finally addressed the drone sightings on the East Coast, alluding to the idea that it could be copycats.
Nothing nefarious, apparently, but they're checking it all out. I think it's just one. There's a lot of drones authorized up there. I think one started and they all got it. Everybody wanted to get in their deal.
And all this time, I thought getting in someone's deal was Hunter's thing. Now, the FBI's gotten more than 5,000 tips of reported drone sightings over the last month, and pretty much everyone's got a take on what they think might be going on. This includes Bethany Frankel from The Real Housewives of New York, who said this.
You're going to think I'm nuts, but why should today be any different than any other day? I know this guy whose father worked with the Pentagon and NASA and like secret projects. He's been watching this situation, and now, several days ago, before it became a discussion in the mainstream media, that these drones are ours and that they could very possibly be sniffing out something very dangerous.
First of all, big congrats to the one person at home who bet money that I'd mention Bethany Frankel tonight. A lot of people are just calling her an idiot, but let's be real for a second, okay? You don't turn a stint on Bravo into a beverage empire worth an estimated 9 figures by being an idiot. And I low-key don't even know why you'd bother to give criticism to someone who can respond to it in such an iconic fashion.
Okay, you were topless, you had sex on a waterbed, you kissed another woman, and you know what? I never mentioned that. We want to mention it? Now we'll mention it.
Mention it all. Mention it all.
Yeah. Thank you, yes. So a lot of people are calling her crazy for her drone theories, and she's posted about it a few times now. But the truth is, I think it's really hard to blame anyone looking for explanations at this point. Because for one thing, the government has handled this whole thing terribly. For the longest time, they didn't even try to give us answers. They were saying stuff like, "We don't know what these drones are, but we do know there's nothing to worry about." The first sightings were reported in Jersey on November 18th, but it wasn't until 2 days ago that we got this joint statement from the DOD, FBI, FAA, and DHS. We assess that the sightings to date include a combination of lawful commercial drones, hobbyist drones, and law enforcement drones, as well as manned fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, and stars mistakenly reported as drones. The point is, they waited so long to say anything, it's hard to trust them or take them seriously, especially considering their track record. How many of the things the government insisted were conspiracy theories in recent years have turned out to be totally true? The COVID lab leak theory, the Chinese spy balloon, Hunter's laptop being Hunter's laptop, Joe Biden being sharp as a tack. In other words, when there's lie after lie and cover-up after cover-up, you can't blame people for questioning the government's official story. It's the same with people going after RFK Jr. To be clear, I totally disagree with some of the stuff he thinks. I do like some of it, but I also think that some of it is nuts. And if you want to call some of it nuts also, I get that. But I think it's so misguided to go after the nuts opinions without examining the whole of how we got to the point where people are listening to him in the first place. which is that they were lied to and gaslit by the experts repeatedly regarding COVID. Like when Greg promised us all a Christmas bonus. So let's see this as an opportunity. Instead of shaming each other for looking for answers when it comes to the drones, let's shame the reason we got to this point, the government. Let's demand that they do better and unite around what should be a shared value, transparency. And I don't even say all this because I kind of want Bethany Frankel to be my friend. I mean, for the record, I do kind of want that, though, because I want to lose most of my baby weight on maternity leave. And I kind of feel like she would do a great job of being mean to me for eating. And I mean that as a compliment. Let's welcome tonight's guests. He loves to go Christmas caroling after 12 eggnogs. Comedian Joe Mackey. Angels put her on the top of their Christmas trees. Host of Fox News Sunday, Shannon Breen. The only way his kids are excited to see him is if he dresses as Santa. Actor, writer, comedian Jamie Lissow. And his gingerbread house is the size of a regular house because he is big. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion Tyrant. All right, Shannon, so as a serious news anchor with a serious journalist reputation, why don't you tell me what are some of your favorite conspiracy theories?
Oh, well, let's start with the drone thing because you mentioned that people do not trust the government.
No.
They kind of only have themselves to blame. So I went back and looked, Pew polling that asks this question all the time. Do you trust the federal government to do the right thing? Most or almost always, 22% of Americans.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty rough. So
Seems high to me.
yeah, exactly right. Audience might be lower here.
Yes.
But you think about if you've been lied to or misled or conspiracy theories come true 6 months, 12 months later, people just don't have any trust in the government. So to tell us we don't know what it is, but also don't be afraid.
Yeah.
And the military says we have nothing to do with it. I mean, remember the Chinese spy balloon? You mentioned that in the opening. It was spotted in February of last year by a guy who just randomly in Montana was taking pictures of the sky. Then we find out it can't be shot down over the whole United States because it might hurt people. Then we find out they knew in January that it was floating around over islands that it wouldn't have mattered to shoot it down over there. So people have plenty of reason to distrust.
I agree with that. Jamie, somebody else on the staff wrote an absolutely unbelievable question for you.
Okay.
I would never say this, but this is the question that was written for Jamie. Jamie, the FBI believes the source of the drones are coming from, quote, the home of a sad and lonely divorced father who's using them to spy on his ex-wife as she makes love to more successful and better-looking men.
Wow.
What do you think they're talking about? I did not write this question.
I can relate to all that except for knowing how to operate a drone. Yeah, they showed Biden a video of the orb. Remember, it kind of went from orb to drone.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? So they showed Biden a videotape of the orb, and he goes, I don't know what that is. And then that said, they then showed him a picture of the Constitution and a banana, and he didn't know what those were either. So this just happened right before the show, so I don't know if it's verified. I saw it on TikTok, so maybe that's further.
Good start so far.
But I heard that one of these things crashed in New Jersey. They said it crashed across the street from a Lowe's hardware store. They said like there were 100 employees, ran out to see it, and I was astonished that Lowe's had 100 employees. Because I've been in there, and I don't know, they skitter away when I'm in there. I would like to say, I think, screw it, we need to blast these out of the sky. That's how I believe. I think we need to blast them out of the sky, and I would be happy to introduce the government to all the women I've ever talked to who effortlessly were able to shoot me down.
Oh.
Well played.
Tyrus, you're out in Jersey. Do you see drones?
Yeah, we see them, and that's the Lowe's that I shop at. It's amazing, yeah. All the employees show up when I get up there.
Yeah.
It's weird. They even want to carry me around, which is not easy to do. Listen, I think it's funny that what, Bethany, was that the name?
Yes.
Was more clear and gave us a better understanding of what she thought, even though her sources was a friend of a guy who knew a guy who worked at NASA, made way more sense than our president, who was, first of all, whose bright idea was it to let him speak at night? Okay, that was strike one. strike two outside at night.
Yeah.
And his best idea was some are good, some are other people, and they're all up in somebody else's deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the housewife on this one. And that's sad. That's really sad.
He really did look like they just woke him up, but using those paddles.
No follow-up question. Mr. President, Tyrus, People's Press, what's deal mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how he's sad.
Yeah, it is. What do you think? What do you think, Mr. Mackey?
I agree with everything that's been said so far, but I also feel like we haven't touched on the fact that the government's kind of insulting our intelligence a little bit, you know, because they said people are mistaking the drones for something that's actually a star. Really? Really? Hey, there's a drone at my roof line. Oops, that's not a drone. That's Rigel. I was off by 860 light years. The government lies so much that even if they were telling the truth in a disaster, I wouldn't believe them at this point, you know? Like if they said like aliens invaded, I wouldn't believe it was aliens. They'd be like, okay, Joe, now it's time for the anal probe. I'm like, that's just... I'd be like, that's just Mike Johnson with the omnibus bill back there, right?
Shannon, you're going to have him on Sunday, right? Mackey's
He's
analysis?
on the panel. He's our featured guest.
Yes.
Sunday. Yes. Can I say one thing about Bethany really
Yes.
quickly? I feel like you two, like we would be secret friends in
Yeah.
another lifetime, but I'm also slightly scared of her.
That's what I need. I need the fear, so I won't
Right.
eat.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like Janice Dean, who, by the way, Janice, if you know her, she is foxhole time, ride or
Yeah.
die. But if you don't know, you're a little bit afraid of her, and you should be. But she would encourage you to eat.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for that, you know, maternity thing,
She'd be like, you can't have anything except carrots and skinny girl margarita.
That's it. And what new mom doesn't dream of that?
Absolutely. All right, up next. Is she still boozing even after losing? But first, this.
Gutfeld Holiday Memories.
I'll never forget the time my staff and I sang Christmas carols outside Greg's place in the city. It was something. He surprised us with hot cocoa. He really didn't serve it to us. He threw it at us, but what a great memory.
Gutfeld Holiday Memories.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.